Hey guys, welcome back to another episode 4. Episode 4, right?
Yes, sir.
Episode 4, Millennial Real Talk. Here with Jason Pacheco, as always. So what do you got? What do you got going on this week? Real estate related.
Related. Week was all right. Picked up a little. I've been 4 years in real estate. I found the fourth quarter is always my busiest. And this year it looks like it's going to hold true. Had an offer accepted this weekend, placed another offer with another client. Didn't get accepted, but, two buyers are out there. And I actually ran into a potential investment for myself. Property needs, seller called me, property needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
And just had a few contractors there last night, trying to run some numbers, seeing if it makes sense for me or if it makes sense to kind of just wholesale it off or something like that. But things are picking up. And actually, John, the guy on our team, another guy on the team, he attacked a for sale by owner, or I shouldn't use the word attack. He found a for sale by owner to assist, helping sell his property in Warwick. It's going to be a condo coming up on Wednesday. So staying busy. How about you, Matt? Anything happen over this past week?
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of offers go out. One came back. I didn't get accepted. I personally think, and for agents out there, especially new ones, I think it's good to ask the listing agent, why. Maybe, they'll usually give you some clues. Obviously, they can't give you the price it went out at, but I think we lost it on, someone waived a home inspection. So, I guess people are still doing that. I thought that was kind of over, but still out there. So, you know how I feel about waiving the home inspection. Just for people listening, it's not something I recommend, not something I would do myself, so I don't recommend my clients doing that. But yeah, that's what I had going on.
Yeah, and
so,
it's tricky. Clients place an offer and it gets declined, and they often ask, what offer got accepted? And the seller side doesn't really say the list price or the terms that they accepted. It's just a matter of, I don't know, we'll have to wait and see until it officially closes and we'll find out. So, if you're placing an offer on a property and you don't get the offer accepted, you will not most likely find out what that offer is that got accepted until it's 45 days later, it officially sold, and you can find out on public information.
Yeah, and I think the clients on this particular offer too, my clients were, they really had their heart set on this house. So, I mean, I really had to to the point where, anything could happen, like it could fall through, and they're at the point where they just, they want to hold off before they keep shopping because they still have hopes to get it. I think one of my recommendations of that is I don't think that's the best idea because you could lose out on another property during that time you're waiting. And by the time you even find another property too, I mean, a lot of the times it takes, it could take another few weeks for them to even find something. So I think, if you get an offer declined, it's good to just keep shopping. Just you got to get out there because there's more than one property.
Yeah, and what I'm looking forward to is starting to negotiate again. I feel like I haven't really had to negotiate.
Oh yeah,
in a year and a half, 2 years.
Yes.
It's just a matter of kind of tends to happen. First time home buyers come in and want to place an offer with us on a property, and they naturally look to their parents or aunts and uncles who bought something 20 years ago, 15 years ago, asking for advice, and they're all in the mindset of, we're going to get to negotiate a little, and it's not you really don't get that time. It's there's no pressing the sellers to negotiate. Offer deadline on Monday, the seller's going to pick the offer that works best for them and move forward and tell all the other 8 people that offered, thanks for your offer, it's declined. And you can always respond, all right, well, we adjusted our offer to this. They're not even going to respond to you. There's no pressing them at that time. There's no negotiating. It's just you lost out, on to the next. And some people have a hard time understanding that. Some people will say, well, you need to be more pushy, or, just negotiate. There's no room for negotiation. I didn't know that was it. And it's just a matter of setting that expectation when it's time to place the offer. Say, hey, this is the highest and best offer you got because you won't have another shot at this. And explaining that can be tough to someone, and I get it, but I'm looking forward to that coming around, and it is shortly.
Yeah, I think too. My other thing, just one more quick point was just I think, when you do see a house, let's say you've been out in the market for just a little while, maybe you've looked at 15, 20 houses already, and you've you come across one you really like. I think it's good. A lot of people are hesitant, like, they want to like, let me move into this. They want to like come in light. You really want to, when you do find one you like, and obviously, you talk to your real estate agent, they'll know your local market better, but you want to come in strong. You don't want to like just kind of half tiptoe in, because if you do that, you're going to end up, by the way, that not for my buyers, they actually did come in really strong. The other offer was just, considerably better, but, so just come in strong when you find a property you do like. So,
Yeah, so in budgeting for a home is probably a lot of people have it's tough budgeting. A lot of people have problems budgeting monthly. It's just spending is kind of the millennial way. They buy what they want. Coffees are $7, a nice coffee at Starbucks, and people are buying it, taking a picture, putting it on social media, and then the next person just saw the story is going to go buy that coffee, and so there's another $7. But Matt, I know when you bought your first property, everyone has different ideas of spending and budgeting and living conservatively. I think, as you know, you're on the really, really heavy budget. I don't spend a lot of money. Here's what it is. Eat at home kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm actually wish I was more like Matt at times. Matt, so just give some advice on people out there budgeting, trying to save for something. I know you actually saved for a down payment. I think it was 14 months. I think you said you went out to eat never. So for 14 months. So just tell me a little about kind of what you did, some tips, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously I could be an extreme, I mean, you don't have to be as extreme. But at the time I was renting, and I think being consistent, some people think this is weird, but creating a spreadsheet, like knowing where your bills are, and at the time too, I'm making, obviously like half the amount maybe I'm making now, but so, and that's another thing too. You're not making a lot of money. You really want to maximize what you do have. So I think, creating a spreadsheet so you know where your money's going and actually sticking to it. That's the biggest thing. Some people even will do that. They'll make a spreadsheet where their bills are going. And
so my question is, how do you stick to it? Is it keeping the goal in mind and be like, if I do this, I'm going to have this in X amount of months, just stick to it. Because I'll be honest, I try and budget. Like, all right, so I want to spend $200 a week on going out. If I go out on Saturday night and spend $100, if I want to go out again, I really need a budget. But when it comes time and I'm at the table and it's Saturday, I had a few drinks, I don't care. So how do you keep yourself disciplined? Is it just a matter of mindset on being mentally disciplined, or do you keep the goal in mind, or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I think Jay's actually doesn't give himself enough credit, because he's disciplined too. But yeah, I'm probably like really on the other side of the coin. But yeah, I mean, just staying, the goal in mind. It's just, if I do X, I can accomplish Y. So I mean that, obviously that's doesn't work. It's not enough for everybody. And it takes people a little bit longer. But yeah, I think for me, I'm just, driven by the goal, and, even like there's other factors too. I mean, even like, for example, where I was renting, and then this is a very like small example, but didn't have a washer and dryer. I had to go to the laundromat. And again, people probably like, what? That's crazy, but there's a small thing that really I didn't enjoy, doing. So I figured I have a house.
Drove you. That drove you to stay on track.
Yeah, it's just one thing. There's a lot of little things, obviously. The benefits of home ownership. Again, that just a very small thing, but to me at the time it was a big deal, because I didn't.
And did you know your gas budget, your grocery budget? Did you go out to eat? No iced coffees. Did you have all that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if I I created the number, like the gas bills, this, I mean, if I'm in the grocery store and I can see, I'm going over maybe let's say $100 a week, and I'm going, and again, I'm not saying it's 100, but and I'm starting to like, I'm doing it out. If I'm going over 100, I'm putting stuff
So
back.
if you're at the register and you're hitting 105, you're putting it in the candies,
Yeah.
throwing it right where the candy goes.
Yeah, and hey, I think too you can challenge yourself to spend less. Like I had a budget sometimes, and there's a lot of times I fell short and felt like I could have made it on less. I did even less. So I think constantly challenging yourself when you're saving up for a house. Like you have to. I mean, there's really no other way unless
And truthfully,
yeah.
did you honestly not go out to eat once, or did you squeeze something in?
So there were I could probably count on one hand how many times I went out.
And it was 14 months or so?
Yeah, 14. I would say even maybe 15, 16 months I saved. So, yeah, I mean, I was really saving everything. And, honestly, part of that was probably just, this full disclosure, I have a girlfriend. So, I think some of that played into it. But yeah, I could probably count on one hand how many times.
You have a girlfriend.
Yep.
I heard a story, but just tell me about the credit card. Her credit card, when you met her, what was her credit card life like? Credit cards, just touch base on that. I know a lot of people. It's a good way to build credit. It's another way you can lose towards your credit just as fast as building it, if not faster. And I know I chatted with Matt on the car ride here, kind of what we're going to talk about. And, man, I have a hard time, and I'm not saying this because, I'm no brilliant guy, but I like to think I'm kind of street smart.
Yeah.
I cannot see myself spending, like going to the store, buying a $5,000 item and saying, I know I won't have the money for this next month, the month next after that, but this looks pretty sweet.
And
I got
paying
a
the
credit
minimum.
card.
Yeah.
Let me just buy it and I'll figure it out. I can't figure that out.
Yeah.
I've never done that. And I don't see myself ever doing it. I just can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, I mean that is true. I'm definitely like that. I mean, I've never had any credit card debt. I think, yeah.
And not to sound like snooty. I don't want people to think like, oh, excuse me. It's just a matter of I can't figure it out.
Yeah, it's tough to really, you go into the store and I mean, it's one thing if I have the money in the account, and I can actually buy it, but it's another thing to charge, I don't even know, you buy an expensive couch or whatever, and then, you pay the minimum on it, you end up paying triple for that couch. Or couch, TV, whatever. That definitely blows my mind a little bit. But yeah, going back to even, my girlfriend, still dating now, I think she had about man, it stresses me out just as we're talking about it. I think she had $5,000 in credit card debt, which, I mean, here in America, that's actually, it's considered pretty good, honestly, which I didn't know at the time. I was like oblivious to.
Yeah, you kind of said it as a joke, but I think you were serious. You didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, like I didn't even know. I mean, I had credit cards, but I just use them like a debit card. You charge it, you pay it. I mean, as I'm walking out of the store, I'm just paying it off. So, but yeah, when I learned that, and I think we had been dating for probably a year and a half at that point. When I learned that, it was a shock to me. I think we probably got into a few fights over it, and I think so. I guess long story short, I mean, I ended up just paying them off. She paid me back, and she's been out of them ever since too. And I think she's adopted some of my methods. But yeah, I mean, it really does. It does shock me when I hear that. I hear $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 on stuff.
And I mean, I get if, let's say you ran into a super life crunch and you're like, I absolutely need this. I just don't have the money, but this is a lifesaver or something. Fine. But again, I don't suggest, really just don't, and I just can't figure out buying an item you don't have the money for and know you won't have the money for.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's great.
And then what that's gonna do, your credit card bill's gonna get racked up. You'll never get out of the hole. Then you'll find yourself missing a few payments, and then you'll find your credit score going down. Then you'll find yourself, because your credit score is almost just as important as your social security number. I mean, you can't buy a car, a house, rent a car at times if you don't have a good credit score. But I do think it's very important to have a credit card.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely important because you want to build. I mean, you can build credit in other ways. Obviously, buy a car and make your payment. That's one way to do it. But yeah, credit card debt is I mean, building your credit in a healthy way. You just you buy something, just pay it off immediately. If you don't have the money, don't buy it. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't sound like that, and we me and you have learned probably over the last couple of years it's not the case for everybody. It's not that simple, but it really has to be.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to buy a home.
And why I think, and honestly, all my spending goes to the credit card. I don't use the debit card. It's always on the credit card. But it's all essential items, all items I know I can afford and have the money. And I do it because it's cash back rewards. So you can open up a credit card. I suggest you do one where there's no annual fees. You get one where it has either 1.5% cash rewards back or flight points. And if you spend, let me grab the calculator out here. If, let's say, per month you spend $2,000 on gas, utilities, clothes, whatever else, Hulu, Netflix, coffees, and you put it on your cash back card. Math, huh? So you're going to make $30 a month using that credit card. So you go out and spend $2,000 a month, that credit card's going to give you $30. And honestly, right now, I'm unlock that for me, but I'll cut that out. But honestly, right now, I have probably $900 in my credit card cash back rewards points that I can cash out at any point or apply toward Amazon point gift cards or flight points. So it's like I'm building credit and I'm getting cash back. Why would you not do that? If I have a debit card with $100 on it or a credit card that has $100 in my debit account, checking account, swipe the credit and get cash back. I mean, that's my take on it. I think it's kind of foolish not to.
Yeah.
Do you have any take on that?
Yeah, it's kind of like a slush fund too. I mean, you can use that money all year that just on your credit card points for Christmas. I mean,
Exactly.
Christmas comes around and now Christmas is, could be free. I mean, depends on how much you spend, but could be free. I mean, I think, I really do. I watched a lot of Dave Ramsey. I agree with a lot of what he says. I'm not sure if you do, but no credit cards. He's a big fan of just not at all. Again, I agree with a lot of his stuff. This is probably one of the things I go my separate way on. Again, I think, obviously people tend to, and his thing is, people tend to spend more when they have a credit card, which is true. But again, going back to if you create a spreadsheet and you know how much money and everything's, because it's like if you go into the grocery store and you just use your debit card, you don't have the actual money in the account, you're not going to spend it. So I think that's part of his philosophy. But again, if you stick to a spreadsheet, you can really just spend exactly what you had planned on going in for. Don't just go in there winging it, make a list, do stuff like that. So, yeah, I think having a credit card is important. I mean, for the points, building your credit. You want to buy a house one day, it's definitely something you take advantage of.
Yeah. Another topic I wanted to hit on today was a 15-year mortgage versus 30-year mortgage, and what our thoughts are on it. I don't know yours. I have my thoughts on it, and just kind of going over our opinions on this topic because it's something that I get asked and I have a take on it, and I'll start here. So I think, if you have it depends. Here we go. 15-year mortgage, I don't agree with. I would never do it. I'm a big believer in leveraging your money. And it just, if you get in right now, everyone should have 6% interest mortgage payment, interest rate on their mortgage, let's say, on average. So for 6%, I can have a 30-year mortgage on, whatever. And then I can also go buy another house because, my mortgage payment's affordable with the 30-year mortgage. And I can go buy another house, an investment property, or maybe it's in a coffee shop, an investment, whatever it is. And I'm not in a crunch. If I had a 15-year mortgage, I'm going to go try and apply for an investment property. They're going to say, oh, your mortgage payment's $5,000 a month. You want another mortgage? You have too much, your debt to income ratio is off. You're not going to be able to afford that second mortgage due to this monthly payment you have. So we're going to deny you. You cannot go buy that investment. I'll be like, oh, what the heck? But if I had a 30-year mortgage, I could own 4 homes. In 30 years from now, I'll pay all 4 homes will be paid off. 4 homes paid off. If I did 15-year mortgages, I'd have 2 homes paid off in the matter of 30 years. So 15, I'd pay one off. Then I'm like, yes, I can finally go buy my investment property. You do another 15-year mortgage. Yes, I have 2 properties paid off. That's 30 years gone by. You have 2 homes versus 30 years. You have 30-year mortgage. You can afford 4 homes, a bunch of different homes. You have more options to make investments. Again, I'm on a tangent here, but again, I'm a believer on leveraging your money. Let your money go to work for you. If you can go buy something with 3% interest, 4% interest, what's the rush to pay it off? Really, what is the rush? So you take out a mortgage for $200,000, you get a nice little interest payment of 4%. Why am I gonna rush to go pay someone back $200,000 if he's not asking me for it back and he's not hounding me for it back? Just let him just keep borrowing that money and go buy something else and do it to that guy and do it to that guy and start investing. Because in 30 years, that will all be paid off. There's no rush to go pay that off unless, again, looking to retire or whatever. That's a different story. And I know you wanted to touch on that retirement thing.
Yeah. Even before I mention that too, I think, this is by the way, I agree. I mean, I definitely think the 15-year, if I had gone and applied and I wanted to take out a 15-year mortgage 3 years ago, I own my house for almost 3 years now, I wouldn't even own the house. They wouldn't even have approved me. So, it's like, and now I would have missed out on, the fact that I can sell my house for a profit, $120,000 to $150,000. So, I mean, I would have lost out on that. And now I'd be in the market, a more expensive market, higher interest rate market. So yeah, definitely just to start with that. Another thing I want to say too is like, if you have, credit card debt, consumer debt, $30,000, $50,000. I mean, I don't necessarily think. I think you need to take care of that first. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's tough when you have like, you make $50,000 a year, you got $30,000 in credit cards, maybe $100,000 student loan debt. I mean, you might not get approved anyway, but I think it's important to take care of that stuff first. But yeah, as far as the retirement goes, I think you should have. Your primary residence should be paid off when you retire. So, you can still take out the 30-year mortgage. And then, I understand people not always disciplined to make extra payments, but you can cut that down to like 7 years, make an extra payment. You could probably cut down 7 years pretty easily. So I think, by retirement, you're going to retire, you shouldn't have a mortgage payment on at least one house. That's my...
Yeah, and that's the point that brings up. It's like, 30-year mortgage, you can make 5 other extra payments if you wanted. No one's going to penalize you.
Yeah.
They shouldn't. Maybe there's some mortgages out there, some mortgage companies where there's a disclaimer, no early payment or extra payment. But majority, you can have an extra payment. So who cares? You could turn it into a 15-year mortgage if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can't change it the other way. I mean,
but if you do 15, you can't say, I'm going to just do 30 actually.
Yeah.
So just do
then you
30
will get penalized.
And make an extra 20 payments if you wanted to. I don't know.
Yeah, even for me, like, for example, I think I've mentioned this, but, I house hack. So, I mean, I live in one unit. I live in a 2-family. I live in one unit, rent out the other. And right now I'm saving up for a single-family home. I mean, I wouldn't be able to even, and again, I want to keep my multifamily as an investment. When I go move on, rent out the bottom. If I was on a 15-year mortgage, they would never let me go and buy that single family, and I would miss out on, the place could cash flow. It's probably, $1,000 to $1,300 a month in profit. So it's like I would miss out on that opportunity. And then, in 30 years, I have at least, hopefully maybe I can buy more, but I'll have at least 2 paid for properties. And again, tenants are paying for one, and then I'm just paying for the other over here. So,
and if someone's listening to this, and you give me a pointer of why a 15-year mortgage actually is good. I really can't think of one. Can you? Honestly, I can't. So I want to know.
Yeah,
what's the purpose of it?
yeah, I really, it's tough. I really couldn't
I
tell
want
you.
to play devil's advocate and kind of see that point. And I'm sure there's a good point out there. Just right now, maybe I'm on podcast mode and I'm not thinking hard enough. But yeah, please drop a comment if you have a 15-year mortgage and you think it made sense for you, and let us know why, just so we can kind of maybe touch on it next episode. Got anything else you want to chat about, Matt?
No, that's it. I think we hit on everything.
Yeah.
But actually, you mentioned in the beginning the property. Were you talking about an investment or?
Yeah.
a flip?
So
Talk about.
talk
You know,
about
are
it.
you?
Oh, you didn't hear about it, huh?
Well, no,
Did I
you
tell
know,
you about it?
you didn't. Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't mention that to me. So, is it an investment, a flip, rental? What are we thinking? I mean,
I've always had, I'm always looking to. I'm excited to make my first real estate investment move, whether it's a flip, wholesale, buy a 3-family. And kind of the general rule is you want to flip properties, wholesale properties, to make quick cash. You get quick lump sum of cash. And once you maybe do 2 of those, you have 80 grand built up, and then you buy the multi. Then you have a multi-family finally. Then you do 2 flips, a couple wholesales, get another 80 grand, buy another multi. That's kind of the equation. You flip to buy the multis. So that being said, I want a multi end game, but I need to produce the enough for a 25% down payment. And someone called me this week, and I'm not going to lie, I lost out on a listing before for going into something with the investor cap on first. And I kind of, there's no right or wrong answer to that. I want to go into everything as a real estate agent. I want to go in there and list your home for sale and find a buyer that's not me. That's my number one goal. That's what I'm going to every single listing appointment with that cap on. And I went into this home. It's in Cumberland. And I walked in. There's no kitchen floor. There's no kitchen stove. There's no toilets. The house is in tough shape. So right away, boom, investor cap came on. I'm like, this is not going to be a good list. It's not. If I list it, it's not going to it's not going to present itself to a lot of buyers. So I'm negotiating with the seller. Got it under contract. And now I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do with it. So I had a couple people come by to look at it, potentially wholesale it to them. So what that means is I get a seller to agree to sell a property for X amount. Let's say, for rough numbers, seller agrees to sell their home to me for $250,000. She agrees, signs the contract. Now I find someone else, or an investor, that wants to buy the contract off me. It's called like an assignment fee. So let's say I find someone who's like, hey man, you got that under contract. I see that. I'll pay $280 for it. I'll put my name on the purchase and sale agreement. I'll close on it and I'll flip it. Like, deal. So I'm under contract with the seller for $250. And then I found someone else who's willing to buy it for $280. So essentially I close on it with the seller for $250. Turn around and sell it to the new buyer for $280 within the same hour, very simultaneously. I don't even need to come up with the money. And you make that difference and you keep that check. So that's a wholesale. So I'm seeing if I can do that. A lot of less risk. I don't have to flip it. I don't need to do anything. Just find that other buyer. But if there's not enough meat on the bone and numbers are too tight, which I think it might be a little too tight to do that, I'm going to flip it. So I had, electrician in there, plumber, contractor yesterday running some numbers on kitchen costs, and might be on a cesspool, might be on a septic. That's the big deciding factor here. I'll let you guys know next week for sure, because on Tuesday I'm going to have someone go in there and really let me know if it's a cesspool or septic. If it's a cesspool, I don't think it's going to work out because the number is going to be way too low for the seller, and she was upfront with me about that. But if it's a septic, it might work out. So we'll keep you posted and let you know. If you have any other questions about what I just said, or if you're interested in it, just comment, and maybe I can take you to the property, and you can tell me what you think you'd want to offer on it. And that's all I got, Matt. You have a good weekend. I know you have 2 showings in Providence, right after this.
Yep, got a couple of showings.
I'm actually going to the Rhode Island real estate investor group at Crown Plaza in Warwick after this. It's about 4 now, so I'll get there around 6. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode 4. It's been a month now of the Millennial Podcast. Matt here, Jason here. We're on the Pacheco Homes team in the Caldwell Banker office in Cumberland, Rhode Island. If anyone ever has any questions, reach out to us on Instagram. You can find our accounts in the description here. Have a good weekend, guys.